Breaking news from Los Angeles this morning. Federal agents have arrested a major drug kingpin after a series of simultaneous raids across the city.
We begin with breaking developments out of Los Angeles. Federal authorities have conducted one of the largest coordinated operations in recent city history, resulting in the arrest of a high-level organized crime figure tied to international narcotics and human trafficking. Sources confirm the operation was executed before dawn during a large-scale federal sweep known as Operation Silent Harbor. The city remained quiet and fog-covered as authorities moved into position. Tactical units, aircraft, and armored convoys waited in complete silence across 19 separate locations throughout the Los Angeles area. At exactly 4:10 a.m., the command was issued. Within seconds, every targeted location was hit simultaneously. The execution was precise, heavily coordinated, and carried out by teams from the FBI, ICE, HSI, DEA, and the U.S. Marshal Service. Officials say the central figure behind the criminal network is 42-year-old Liwei J.O., a well-connected Los Angeles resident who maintained the appearance of a philanthropist and successful businessman. He attended charity events, drove high-end vehicles, and was seen supporting cultural organizations. But investigators say his public image was a calculated disguise designed to conceal a nationwide criminal enterprise. According to federal agents, J.O. built influence by exploiting vulnerable individuals and struggling businesses. He provided undocumented loans, legal assistance, and rapid financial aid, but every favor came with escalating pressure. When cooperation became uncertain, threats and intimidation followed. One landlord reportedly attempted to withdraw from a lease agreement linked to J.O.'s network. Weeks later, he vanished. His vehicle was later discovered near the port of Los Angeles. No further trace was found. For years, J.O.'s operation functioned quietly through shell companies and local storefronts. On paper, he controlled seafood distribution, auto parts, and importing businesses. But investigators know, by 4:57 a.m., the city was motionless. Helicopters hovered silently above the harbor, and tactical teams remained stationed across multiple districts. For a brief moment, Los Angeles appeared suspended in time. Then the radios activated. 19 targets were breached at the exact same second. Doors shattered, flashbang grenades exploded, and entire blocks were jolted awake. Witnesses reported seeing coordinated convoys moving through heavy fog with military precision. At a warehouse near the port of Los Angeles, federal agents forced entry using hydraulic tools. Inside, workers attempted to flee, but were quickly detained. Tables were covered in packaging materials, electronic scales, and sealed bricks of narcotics. Agents described the scene as a fully functioning drug distribution hub. Meanwhile, on Interstate 5, 3 delivery vans attempted to evade law enforcement. Marshals deployed armored intercept vehicles, boxing the vans in before they could escape the city perimeter. Drivers surrendered following a brief standoff. Another raid unfolded in Arcadia, where J.O. maintained a fortified luxury residence. From the outside, the home appeared immaculate. Inside, investigators encountered reinforced entries, hidden cameras, and improvised barricades. Automatic weapons were recovered under furniture and in concealed compartments. Teams navigated smoke-filled hallways and secured multiple floors within minutes. No federal officers sustained serious injuries. Across the Los Angeles region, the same pattern repeated. Quiet storefronts masking high-level criminal operations, processing stations, storage facilities, and private clubs, all functioning as fragments of a unified and highly coordinated machine. Authorities now believe this operation extended far beyond the city limits, feeding illegal pipelines across multiple states. One senior official described the coordination and infrastructure as closer to a foreign intelligence operation than typical organize. As dawn approached, the intensity of the operation shifted. The explosions and tactical entries were over, replaced by a slower and far more revealing phase: evidence recovery. Convoys moved between locations while federal teams began methodically documenting what had been uncovered. Roads surrounding key properties were sealed. Search warrants expanded, and for the first time, the full scale of the network began to surface. Inside a distribution center near the port, agents discovered loading bays that had been welded shut from the inside. Behind stacks of frozen seafood, investigators found bricks of narcotics wrapped in green plastic and marked with a red dragon symbol. Every package was identical in size, weight, and labeling, indicating an industrial-level operation. Another location, disguised as a small tax service office, revealed an entirely different component of the network: the financial system. Behind a false wall, agents uncovered shelves of cash-counting machines operating on portable generators. Stacks of envelopes filled with U.S. dollars and foreign currency were sorted by city: Chicago, Detroit, Denver, and more. Officials described it as a centralized laundering hub designed to move money faster than investigators could track. The most disturbing discoveries came from businesses operating under the appearance of nightlife and entertainment venues. One former restaurant, converted into a private club, contained a soundproof basement with rows of beds, personal belongings, and dozens of cell phones charging at once. Many of the recovered passports belonged to women who had not been seen publicly in months. At a separate industrial site, agents found modified shipping containers outfitted with makeshift locks, mattresses, and buckets. The metal walls showed scratches. None of the identification cards recovered at that location matched employment records or legal immigration status. Federal officials now say these findings confirm the network. By mid-morning, a clear picture of the organization had emerged. What investigators once suspected was a loose criminal network has now been identified as a highly structured hierarchy, built to operate, expand, and survive undetected. At the top was Liwei Jiao. According to federal analysts, he rarely issued direct instructions. Instead, he maintained distance, using layers of security, coded communication, and trusted intermediaries. His public persona, generous, successful, and respected, was a strategic shield. Below him were 5 lieutenants, each responsible for a critical operational sector: narcotics distribution, human trafficking, financial laundering, corruption outreach, and enforcement. The narcotics division managed logistics across multiple states. Trucks carrying seafood, electronics, or standard freight shipped drugs concealed inside frozen products, mechanical equipment, and specialized containers. Every shipment was timed, weighed, and documented to appear legitimate. The financial division operated with equal precision. Shell corporations and charitable organizations disguised profits as community sponsorships and cultural funding. Multiple bank accounts and currency exchanges fragmented the paper trail. Officials say millions of dollars passed through this system without triggering standard financial alerts. The human trafficking component remains the most alarming. Women brought from overseas were assigned controlled housing and monitored movement. Their passports and identification documents were confiscated immediately upon arrival. Federal officials now believe many were forced into labor and exploitation with no legal means to escape. The corruption wing functioned quietly. Small donations, funded events, and community investments granted access, not headlines. Investigators confirm that information leaks and subtle interference slowed inquiries and allowed operations to continue unchallenged. Finally, there was enforcement. By the time sunlight fully reached the Los Angeles skyline, the operation had shifted into its final phase: accountability. Federal agents processed evidence, secured seized properties, and transported suspects under armed supervision. What began as a silent pre-dawn operation had become a major national case with far-reaching implications. Authorities have now confirmed the scale of the charges facing Liwei Jiao. They include narcotics trafficking, interstate distribution of controlled substances, human trafficking, forced labor violations, money laundering, conspiracy, and corruption. If convicted, he could face multiple life sentences. Officials say the evidence recovered is staggering. Hundreds of kilograms of illegal narcotics, millions in cash and assets, weapons with removed serial numbers, forged documents, shipping records, and digital systems designed to move money and people with corporate-level efficiency. But beyond the numbers is the impact: communities affected, families exploited, and lives destroyed by the flow of fentanyl and heroin linked to this criminal operation. Investigators confirm that supply chains tied to JO reached well beyond California, fueling overdose deaths across several states. For many living in these neighborhoods, the scale of today's findings is unsettling. What looked ordinary, a tax office, a restaurant, a warehouse, was part of a hidden system operating steps away from homes, schools, and businesses. Federal officials now say this investigation is not finished. More arrests, more financial seizures, and additional charges are expected in the coming days as digital evidence is processed and secondary targets are located. This morning's operation serves as a reminder: organized crime today does not always appear in the shadows. Sometimes it stands beside us, smiling at ribbon cuttings, attending charity galas, and posing as community leadership. As this story continues to develop, one question remains: how many SI? We begin with breaking developments out of Los Angeles. Federal authorities have carried out one of the largest coordinated operations in recent memory, resulting in the arrest of a suspected international criminal leader. The pre-dawn sweep, known as Operation Silent Harbor, began while the city was still covered in heavy coastal fog. Tactical teams, helicopters, and armored convoys quietly positioned themselves at 19 locations across the Los Angeles metro area. At 4:10 a.m., the command was issued. In one precise moment, every target was breached. Flashbang grenades lit up dark streets. Doors were forced open, and residents across the region awoke to the sound of helicopters and sirens. Inside a warehouse near the port of Los Angeles, agents discovered active narcotics processing tables. At other locations, federal teams detained suspects attempting to flee. On Interstate 5, U.S. Marshals boxed in multiple delivery vans tied to the distribution network. The primary target was 42-year-old Liwei J.O., a Los Angeles businessman who investigators say operated a highly organized criminal enterprise under the appearance of legitimate philanthropy and community involvement. For years, J.O. attended charity galas, donated to cultural events, and presented himself as a respected figure in multiple communities. According to federal authorities, the reality was very different. Beneath that public image was a multi-layered criminal structure involving narcotics, financial laundering, human trafficking, corruption networks, and a separate enforcement wing designed to intimidate and silence potential resistance. Inside seized properties, investigators found cash rooms hidden behind false walls, forged documents, shipping records, and digital systems used to move money across state and international borders. Agents also uncovered evidence of forced labor and human trafficking, including restricted living quarters, confiscated passports, and controlled travel arrangements. We begin with breaking developments out of Los Angeles. Federal authorities have carried out one of the largest coordinated operations in recent memory, arresting a man investigators describe as the architect of a multi-state criminal network. The operation, codenamed Silent Harbor, launched before sunrise while the city was still covered in fog. Tactical teams, armored vehicles, and helicopters positioned themselves at 19 locations across greater Los Angeles. At precisely 4:10 a.m., the order was given. 19 targets were breached simultaneously. Flashbangs detonated, armored teams entered buildings, and suspects attempted to flee in vehicles and on foot. They were quickly contained. Investigators say the central figure behind the network is 42-year-old Liwei J.O. Publicly, he was known for charity work, high-profile events, and local business investments. Privately, officials allege he directed a sophisticated structure responsible for drug trafficking, human exploitation, financial laundering, and corruption. Inside raided properties, federal teams found bricks of narcotics hidden behind frozen seafood packaging, cash-counting rooms disguised behind false walls, forged identifications, encrypted computers, and evidence of forced labor. According to authorities, the network operated with military-style hierarchy. Lieutenants oversaw distribution, finance, trafficking, corruption, and enforcement. Each branch functioned independently, preventing one failure from collapsing the system. This morning, JO faces a long list of federal charges, including distribution of controlled substances, conspiracy, human trafficking, and organized financial crime. More arrests are expected as evidence continues to be processed. Officials say this case demonstrates a critical reality. Modern organized crime doesn't always hide in the shadows. Sometimes it stands in plain sight at community events, business openings, and charity fundraisers. Operation Silent Harbor